So this lecture here is going to deal with how to study, and this is obviously the one that I gave in class. Our question that we're going to be attempting to do is how are we going to work on time management and things that you could do to make it so that you're studying a little bit more effectively, because there's a lot of time wasting that usually occurs. This video here is based upon some research. They don't cite the research in the video. I think it might be in the comments below, but it actually is a pretty good list.
Time for school, and it's no surprise that many of us are determined to study smarter instead of longer. But which study tips and tricks actually work scientifically and can help you get those perfect grades? First up, research shows that study sessions are most effective in small, short chunks. Instead of cramming in a 10-hour study session, it's much more effective to spread it out into 20, 30-minute sessions over a few weeks. This is because your brain is better at encoding information into the synapses in short, repeated sessions as opposed to one large one. And this is why even learning different skills, whether it's swimming, tennis, or a singing lesson, often follows this same format. And while cramming and pulling all-nighters may be a ritual, it turns out that this is linked to the lowest grades. After prolonged nocturnal study sessions, reasoning and memory may be negatively affected for up to 4 whole days. Instead, setting up specific times in a day or during the week just to study primes your brain by creating a routine, and over time, studying actually becomes easier as your brain is trained to learn in those moments. And while many of us spend hours passively rereading our notes or highlighting a textbook, studies have shown this to be ineffective. It doesn't improve your understanding of topics, nor does it link key concepts together. It can even be detrimental as it draws your attention to less important information. Flashcards, on the other hand, are proven to be excellent memory reinforcement tools, whether during your scheduled study times or during off times like a bus ride home. It also helps to have a specific goal for each study session. Instead of aimlessly studying, pick one aspect you'll focus on, whether it's balancing chemical equations or learning how to conjugate French verbs. If you can't explain it simply, then you don't understand it well enough. In studies where individuals were asked to learn a passage, and then half were told that they would be tested on the material, while the other half were told they would have to teach it to other students, participants expecting to teach it did much better at understanding the main points. When you're expecting to teach, your brain organizes the information in a more logical, coherent structure. Of course, practice, practice, practice. Not only do practice tests put your brain in the environment, but even if you make mistakes, they help identify gaps in your knowledge. Practice tests have also been shown to increase confidence, thereby leading to better performance. So, where should you be studying? Research shows that having a designated, sacred spot for study that's well equipped with every tool you might need is best. Just like setting times, this primes your brain for studying. Have an awesome study playlist? Not so fast. While some studies have shown that certain types of classical music can help improve concentration, a recent study has shown that learning with rhythmic background noise can be detrimental to focus, and those not using music fared much better. And if you haven't already, put away your phone. This is a no-brainer, but your texts and social media notifications severely decrease concentration. Of course, exams can be extremely stressful, so if you want some tips on how to deal with exam anxiety, check out our ASAP Thought video, which breaks down some tips for that. Link in the description. And a big thank you to TD Bank for sponsoring.
So, obviously they had a few of the bells going off. I apologize. You could tell that I recorded this after school. So, we are fully aware that short study periods work better, and I did a little activity in class that kind of demonstrates that. Usually what you need to do is short chunks, and you repeat it over and over and over again. The more often you do it, turns out the better you turn out to do in terms of remembering it or trying to understand it. We are fully aware that repetition and small is good, because the more stuff you try and learn at a period of time, it's hard. It's why when I talk way too much in class, it becomes hard to concentrate because I talk too long and there's too many topics. Usually it's also because I'm trying to tell stories and it's really bad. A second thing that turns out to work is try and teach the subject, namely because you are forced to realize where you are having issues understanding whatever the information is or whatever the concept is, and you're trying to, you feel the struggle in explaining the topic. And then you're then forced, usually right then and there, to fix what you have issues with. And I made note of some things at the bottom where you can back up all of these issues. We actually do this quite often in class, so it's actually kind of useful. Last one is it helps if you write stuff, meaning organize yourself. So it's why in class I talked about how you should be using outlines, and also if you could do flowcharts. Flowcharts are amazing things because you're forcing yourself to do a task which is not normal. Writing is not normal. Reading is not normal. And by doing that, you're forcing yourself to think through what has to happen. So what should you do? You should study a lot. You should study often, but you shouldn't study a lot at each time. And you should be trying to challenge yourself writing, speaking, explaining.